I think when everybody, says your name, they think what I think, which is, how do I steal her butt? Immediately. Okay. So I think we should start talking about first, like, it's pretty incredible. Like, you have all these methodologies you use. But for us women, we have a hard time activating our glutes in particular. And I didn't know that was a thing until I started going down your rabbit hole of mind-muscle connection and how important that is for glutes. And so for normies like me who've never done anything like this, how does one steal a Senada butt?
You got to put in the work.
Dang it, there's still three steps.
It's not easy. There's no magic pill, unfortunately. I say that the magic pill is in the work that you're trying to avoid. So do the work. And unfortunately, like, glutes are a big muscle, so they need a lot of work. But mind-muscle connection is one of the biggest things that I've always employed, which is you touch, you think about the muscle that's working, you are present with the muscles that are working, in this case your glutes. You'll see me on a lot of videos, I'm like touching whatever area, and mostly glutes that I'm working out, because there is a correlation, as you probably know, with mind to body and body to mind. It basically sends those signals up to the brain that we're working these muscles, so let's activate them. And then to get more, if you want to know more like technical aspects of it, there is, in my book, a way to work out your glutes that is effective. So including things that are like a squat or a lunge, which are moving in one vector, and then doing RDLs like hip hinge exercises, and then going into vertical vectors like step ups, doing abduction, which is working your side booty, upper booty, and then a hip thrust, which is like that contractor. So employing all of these different aspects and then hitting it, like 3 times a week. For me, it's really important because it is the biggest muscle in your body and will burn more calories and will help you health-wise.
Yeah, I like that. As well. And so basically if we've never heard of that before, mind-muscle connection, the first activation is you touch it. So if I'm like trying to move this part, I actually touch it with my finger. Yeah. And why does that actually help? Like, how have we gotten so disconnected from our muscles?
Because we're thinking about, what am I going to have for dinner? What TV show I'm going to watch? Or, the children have, this sport and that activity. We're busy, so we are not in our bodies. Most of us are like, watching a series or something while we're working out, or listening to music, or I don't even listen to music anymore because I want to be present with what I'm doing in that moment. That's like my moving meditation in a way, not to discount actual eyes closed and bringing it to, internally, but that's my moving meditation. That's one of the reasons, especially nowadays, that we've become so disconnected. But there's also a chemical process, if you will, that happens when you do actually touch. All of a sudden your brain is like, oh, that's being worked. Like, it's actually a chemical process that's occurring as well, not just a woo-woo that I'm touching them. Yeah.
Look, running a podcast or any content operation is a grind. The editing, the clipping, the captions. It's enough to make anyone quit before the fun even starts. Enter Riverside. This tool is your content powerhouse. Forget decent quality virtual calls. Riverside gives you 4K video, pristine audio, and makes deadweight tasks disappear faster than bad ideas. Their text-based editor slashes, silences, and edits errors with one click. Needing some extra clips? Riverside's AI Magic Clips finds the moments people actually care about and delivers them to you. No guessing, no endless replays. And here's the kicker. You don't even need to record in the platform to use its features. You have the option to upload your footage to Riverside, letting it handle the heavy lifting. So you can save your brain power for the creative stuff. So stop drowning in edits, get busy creating, hit the link in the description, use code Codie, and thank me later. When you talk about moving meditation, I went down a rabbit hole of your stuff. You've talked about this a lot. But I think a lot of us, when we're in the gym, we're like, this is painful. I want to pretend I'm not here. I want to distract myself. And yours is kind of the opposite. So explain what that is.
It is. So I'm maybe a gluten for punishment, but when my mind goes there, like, this sucks, like, I want to get out of here, I'm actually, no, you're going to slow it down. And you're going to add two reps on top of that.
Oh, God.
Just so that, again, I'm kind of bringing it back to the body and not running with the thoughts that are taking over my mind in the moment. Listen, if you watching TV or listening to music or whatever you need to do in the meantime gets you to get moving and work out, do it. If that's the only way that you're going to do it. But if we're talking about then maximizing like your results and talking about like the nitty gritty, then yes, you'd want to kind of fully concentrate on what you're doing in that particular moment.
Yeah. When you grew up in Albania, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you left when you were a teen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you into fitness and kind of the same Senada there that you are here, or did something change?
Yeah. I've been an active kid, so I've always been like on trees and, you know, climbing to get like the ripest fruit, which I saw some tangerines outside and I stole a couple.
You did it right now.
I did because it just, I don't know, it brings back like such good memories of that part of the childhood. So I've been an active child, but I didn't excel at sports. I played every sport imaginable, but I wasn't like an excellent athlete because I think one of the things there is that when I got into the sports, like as a teenager, it wasn't for the right reasons. I just wanted to work out, be as skinny as possible, as thin as possible. So it wasn't like I want to be just a good athlete. And now it's become to like I want to be the best athlete that I possibly can at this point in my life. But yeah, that was an active child, super active child, to now doing what I do.
What's Albania like? I've never been. What was it like growing up there?
So Albania was a communist country at that time, where when I was born and well into like my early years. It was tough. It was waiting in line for ration food, placing, you know, a water bottle in a very long line of people to claim your spot so you'd get your ration food. And then with the turning over of like communism to democracy, quote unquote, that also presented a lot of issues. There was a civil war that broke out. You know, I would stand in line for like, I mean, it sounds surreal sometimes, right? For a loaf of bread and being like passing out, being elbowed by adults because, you know, you had only a limited amount of food that was being distributed at that point in time. So you just had to fight for it, literally like survival, like literal survival. So yeah, that even though, you know, my mom was a professor, my dad was a doctor, you are slightly better off than other people in the sense that, you know, my dad would get extra payment in the way of a sheep or or some chickens, you know, so sometimes you'd have that little surplus, if you will. I can remember like as clear as day, like the first can of soda that he brought home because somebody had gotten it from somebody that gave it to him, literally like a can of soda that me and my two younger sisters split into 3 little espresso cups, and I can still taste that in my mouth. And yeah, so it
That's very different than LA today.
yeah, it is. And like living this reality right now where, you know, I'm training Kim Kardashian, and I I have a couple of businesses that I run, and I would say, yeah, like a very successful individual, like that almost seems like whose life was that? But it was very much my life.
Do you remember like the line? Do you remember the lines? Do you remember those moments?
Oh, they're like, I keep getting chills as I speak about it. But yeah, you get me emotional. Yeah, I remember the lines very vividly. I passed out in one of those lines, like, you know, waiting for bread and in the dry heat of Albania, probably 8-10 years old, you know.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. And were you there by yourself with your family?
I was the oldest of three.
Three girls?
3 girls. So
Wow.
I a lot of the time assumed the responsibilities of the household. I was like, I consider myself as like the boy of the house, you know. I was that tomboy that I wanted to protect and to care for the family and for my sisters and my mom. I forget the question.
No, it was a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of the reason why you care about being so strong now? Is that?
It is absolutely one of the main reasons why I, okay, I thought we were going to talk about business.
I started with a butt and now I'm talking about bread lines.
But it's truly, it's so multifactorial. It is, caring for my sisters, my younger sisters. It is caring for my mom, who had she had me at 19, and a child very much herself, who was dealing with her own, history of anxiety and whatnot. And to have a kid that young, I had to at times be her parent as well, so I think that's one of the main reasons why empowering women to step into their strength and really embody who they're supposed to be at their fullest is so important to me. That
it also makes sense why you've attracted these millions of people that follow you online, because it's so much deeper than aesthetics. I mean, I had followed you, and you are a very strong woman physically, but going through that mentally and emotionally at such a young age, incredibly rare. How did you guys get out of Albania and get to the US?
It was at the height of that civil war that I was talking about. It was,
and this is where it was Albanians versus, there was
it was Kosovo that went to, like Serbia went to war with Kosovo. Actually, let's take a step back. It was a little bit before that. It was like 2 years before that, if I remember correctly, where this civil unrest, people broke into the armories where they hold, is that the armories? Where they hold the guns and everything, weapons, and they were literally just shooting at each other like targets, and
it was racial based or religion based.
It wasn't anything. It was just a rebellion against the government, against there were some pyramid schemes that went on that stole people's money. So it was just I was young at the time, so the full story, but it was, those are kind of the main components. It was just a turnover from communism. It was just something that had built up over that time. So the pyramid schemes, and then people were just literally shooting at each other, or were making targets of something, can you make that shot? So I remember clear as day when that started, going under the bed and hiding for cover, because it was extremely scary. I don't even know how all of us in my family made it out alive. We fortunately, to go back to your question, won the lottery to actually come here legally. So we were equipped with a green card, which very fortunate as compared to other people. So right away we had the green card. Then we got our passports, and that came at a time that was needed.
Did you speak English?
I was the only one in the family that spoke English, because I had taken some courses, some private English courses, not one-on-one, but group courses that were outside of school hours. So, that came again with the responsibility of having to translate, at 14, 15 for my parents, and had to carry them through. I was the only one to,
And do they all live here now?
They're in New York. Yeah, they live here.
Oh my Lord.
They're better equipped now, so thankfully.
You said, Mom, learn some English.
Yeah.
Incredible. And what's fascinating is I want to talk a little bit about the app and the business that you have too, because it translates to so much more than physical strength, which is really one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on. Everybody knows you on the internet for your strong body and these videos that you do that are very easy to understand about how to get strong and beautiful for women. You could be strong and fit and feminine, and yet there's so much depth here. And so you could have quote unquote, just started another workout app, but instead you decided to do something a little bit different. Will you talk about that? And now it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of areas in our lives, especially in women's lives, that are sometimes spoken and unspoken that we would like a little bit of help with and a little bit more direction. I mean, there is so much information out there nowadays that it's so overwhelming to decipher through. I mean, God knows how many reels my mom sends me on a daily basis.
Oh, me too.
I'm like, Mom,
forget
put
about
your
like
phone
children
down.
and perimenopause now. It's
Oh
like we
my
have to know
gosh.
everything.
Yes, yes. So you have to be an expert. You have to be your own advocate. You have to maybe have a medical degree and a lawyer. You have to be a lawyer maybe in some situations, a law degree. So the idea is to really help women with not just fitness. I think fitness is paramount. It is, taking care of our health is probably one of the most important investments that we'll ever make in our life. But I think there are so many other areas that we need expertise on, like true expertise that you can kind of go in one place and find all of this versus scouring the internet or versus getting fed all of this sometimes very contradicting information.
Yeah. And so the app's called We Rise.
Yes, we rise together, or together we rise.
I like it.
Yeah.
And the idea is there's fitness on it, but you're going to have a bunch of women speak on different subjects.
Yes. And have actionable items, not just speak. So, somebody's speaking at you, but actually giving you tools that you can implement to achieve goals that you're working on. So whether that is changing your mindset or navigating through careers, changing careers, or creating your own brand, that's coming in 2025. What we do have now is an expert in habits and a nutritionist expert as well to help you, with even things like what are macros? How many macros should I be consuming?
Did I need this app? It's so overwhelming.
Yeah, it's
and a lot of it's
simple.
not for women. Like I have buddies that are all your buddies too that are health experts, but most of them are men. And so, it's intermittent fasting. Well, it turns out that's not that great if you're trying to get pregnant, for instance. I had no idea.
It's not that great. Period. If you're, especially when you're hitting your late 30s and early 40s, it is just not a good idea because of our hormones. Our hormones are much different than men's hormones, and that can wreak havoc in our hormonal system. So, I used to, a long time ago, intermittent fast, and I've changed that because, naturally I wasn't like a breakfast eater, but now I kind of make myself have that 20 to 30 grams of protein first thing in the morning, 30 minutes within waking up, so that I can tell my body basically, we're good. We have some nourishment. We don't have to go into the fight or flight mode, because as women, we are predisposed to go into that mode. We work out of the sympathetic system more so than the parasympathetic. So that, and that kind of helps start the day that way.
To really be simple here, what's the right way to start the day breakfast-wise as a chick? What should we be eating in the morning?
Make sure you're eating like 20, 30 grams if you can of protein in the morning to just start you off, because your body is looking for that protein, for all those amino acids, for all those nutrients. To keep it simple for myself, like, I don't have time to cook first thing in the morning, so I'll make a protein smoothie that's also a very digestible, absorbent, meal that you can make quickly. I throw in, it's pretty simple, blueberries to get a little bit of fiber. I throw in some protein in there, protein powder, either almond milk or oat milk, unsweetened usually. And what else? I throw in some nuts. I throw in my creatine in there. And I think that's pretty much it.
What's the deal with creatine? People are really excited about it right now and seem to think that people should be taking creatine.
Yes. For a long time, see, I don't jump onto like supplements right away. I like to see the data and see where it's going before first of all, let's back up. Supplements are not necessary unless you are lacking in nutrition. I always go nutrition first, make sure that that's on point, and then you can see where you can supplement. It turns out that creatine is a pretty important supplement, not just in muscle growth, but in brain health as well. So I've started myself adding creatine to, especially as, get a little bit older, and, we want to really keep that muscle on. We want to grow that muscle, that strength, as well as keep our cognitive functions in check. Yeah. And creatine helps with that a lot.
Yeah. You said before that one of the things that's a pet peeve of yours is that women say, hey, when I go lift, I'm going to become really bulky.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about that? Is that what happens with women? We work out, we instantly get huge muscles.
Huge. No, I mean, it's how we're built, like our hormones do not allow us for us to become that big naturally. I'm sure there is steroids and other anabolics that like people can use that can do that, and that's their choice. And maybe that's the fear there, because people see some of these bodybuilder women that and when you go to certain classes of bodybuilding, then they're almost like forced to take them, and you're not going to become that, because that is not being done naturally. Mm-hmm. Just lifting, eating properly will not get you to that point. It'll get you to be healthy, to grow healthy muscle that you need for quality of life, for quality longevity. I mean, muscle to me is a currency. It's a currency to health. That's how I see it. And it used to be, again, how can I be as thin as possible because of these thin models? Now I'm like, how can I put as much muscle as possible while I can, so that I can prevent anything that might be detrimental to my health down the road,
Yeah, it seems like more women are working out these days with weightlifting, but it's still not that common. Like, of my girlfriends, maybe 10% I can think of actually like to lift. Why do you think lifting is so important for women?
And health, longevity, preventing osteoporosis, preventing sarcopenia, like muscle loss, like preventing all of these diseases that are at the top of the list from which women die from, because you want to prevent the fall, or you want to be able to get up from a fall. And those are and weightlifting, it's so important to do right now, or wherever you're at, whatever point you're at. It is so important, whether you're in your 20s, but then it becomes even more important when you're in like 30s and 40s and 50s and so on, to lift relatively heavy, I would say, with great form. It's our health.
How do you know if you're lifting heavy or not?
So usually heavy, it's all relative, but I would say if in a program you're recommended, let's say 12 reps or 8 reps, heavy means going up until that 8 or 12 rep, and you're not able to go any further than that. Maybe you have 1 or 2 more reps in the tank, but you're basically AKA going to failure. And that's considered heavy, while maintaining great form. Great form. You don't want to compromise form for the weight that you're lifting.
When I knew I really liked you on the internet? When I saw that you also wear your hair up to the gym. I go to like Collective, and there's a whole thing there in Austin, and everybody's like all dolled up in the gym. Yeah. Have you noticed this trend? And the hair down. Now, you don't have that long hair, but I'm immediately judgy. If I see like a woman working out with her hair all the way down, I'm like, oh no. Yeah. I'm never going to look that cute. So I'm immediately judgy of it. But you talk a lot about intensity too in your workouts. Like, how important is it how hard you go? Should you be sweating? Does any of that matter? Is it just, do you have to go fast? What does like a workout look like in your mind?
Yeah.
That's ideal.
I go hard and heavy.
And you're sweating? Are you sweating?
I grunt. I do. I'm one of the people that sometimes by like the last rep or two, I don't maybe look like that in the videos.
No, I've never heard a grunt. Can we confirm?
I don't want to be too distracting. I do breathe heavy, but yeah, I think intensity is as important as like lifting heavy. But and then when it comes to intensity, are you talking about like when you're lifting heavy, or are you talking about like high intensity, like training, interval training, or all of
the above? Yeah, my husband always says that you can't, like, I go to the gym and I do the reps, but I'm probably not going as hard as I should. Maybe not as heavy, maybe not as fast, maybe too many breaks.
Well, breaks. Fast, you don't have. Slow is fast and fast is slow. So like lifting slow actually will help you with that mind-muscle connection even further. So slow down the movements and then think about touching, feeling, thinking about the muscles that are working. So you don't have to go, yes, don't go fast, go slow. When it comes to, yes, most people don't lift as intensely as they probably can because they're afraid, again, especially women, of bulking. And I would say test yourself, test what that 12 rep to failure is. Like, how close are you to that? Like, if you're doing, say, bicep curls, or if you're squatting, can you do 20, 30? Then you probably need to say it's time.
Too light.
It's time. It's too late.
Okay, fine. You've talked about, you train Kim Kardashian, which maybe a few people know on the internet who that is, and other
Just a few.
just a few, and other
350 something million.
wild. Also, like, ultimate businesswoman.
Hopefully I didn't get that wrong.
I think she's fine. I think she's doing good. But incredible businesswoman, as are you too. What is it? How did that start? Like, how do you start training celebrities? How do they find you? What is that like working with celebrities?
She found me.
She slid into your DMs?
She slid into my DMs, literally. Well, not her, but her people. Her people initially. I've had the honor and the pleasure of working with a few celebrities, including a queen of a country.
That's wild.
That was wild. Yeah, very wild. And she's still a really good friend to this day. But surreal. Yeah, they approached me because I was never in the business, if you will, of training celebrities. I never even thought that, this little old me could do that. But yeah, the opportunities have kind of come across because at the end of the day, I've always been of the belief I'm going to put my best self out there. And I find, like, with like aesthetics come if you put in the work. Yeah. All the good things in business come if you put in the right kind of work. So, yeah.
Yeah. You also, I think, you mentioned some really raw and honest things in your life about depression and how fitness helped you with that. And then obviously what you shared earlier, what happened before? Were you depressed, and did fitness help you get out of it?
I found out later in my life that I have a genetic predisposition to that. And I guess you could have, realized that by seeing that my mom suffered from anxiety, and I guess she told me that her father also did have. So, you can see kind of a pattern, but that I got genetic testing done and it was confirmed. So, yeah, I did as a teenager. As a young child, I don't know that I can see any of the things that I suffered from when it came to like my teenage years. So it probably was a compounding effect and of like being in a new country and having to take the role of a parent in some ways, and then this genetic predisposition, which I don't know if there is any data out there or any studies that show that maybe creeps in at a certain point in your life, maybe with your hormones changing and now you're a teenager and that kind of gets activated, if you will. I have no idea how that plays. But I did go through anorexia at the time too. So it was kind of everything kind of fell on my lap at the same time. And working out, strength training in particular, was my way out of all of that.
Did you find it? Like, how did you go from anorexia and being depressed to like pulling yourself out of bed and deciding to move? That takes a strong human.
Sometimes I do question like where I find this. It must be like some place that I'm pulling out from, because yes, you have this kind of like two very opposing realities. This things that just want to keep you down, and then this like very crazy drive at some points, which I think I have. But I knew that something was wrong. So I, would find help. Like in college, found a therapist and would try to read books. Like self-help books has been like my biggest friend, alongside with like obviously working out, but like self-help books, a lot of psychotherapy, a lot of even like graduate, like college level books. For some reason fascinated me. Maybe I have a fascination with the brain and the mind and how it works. So it was kind of like a loop, maybe, you know, help yourself to get out of this situation. And that I did. And plus I had catalysts, like an amazing primary care doctor at one point where she was running marathons, like, I don't want to say every month, but at least every like quarter she was running a marathon. She was like in her 50s and it was incredible, like incredible shape. And that was like kind of the starting points, like, Senada, just run. Just go for a run.
That's what your doctor told you?
Yeah, just go for a run. Because you know what happens. Like, it's not sometimes you're like, you know, take this medication. It's like
that's
the easiest thing. Yeah.
Did they ever try to prescribe you prescription drugs?
Yes. Yeah. So it was like,
was that first?
Also a combination of both. Yeah, of both. But the running like really was life-changing. Like that was my little step into doing things to take care of my health properly. Doing it for the right reasons, you know, to get out of the eating disorder and anxiety and depression, and not to diminish myself and make myself smaller, and like doing cardio. And so like I started running with the goal, like I'm going to run a marathon, and that brought the need to nourish my body properly. And then I found myself in strength training. You know, I was still kind of like running, and was going to my local gym, and just friends of mine were like, you should try weightlifting. And I also had the fears of like, I don't want to be bulky, like I don't want to be big. And but once I started down that path, there was like no turning back. Yeah.
You know, I was reading a study the other day that for women under 30 in the US, 60% of them at some point in time have been on an SSRI or an antidepressant.
Yeah.
And that there's an epidemic really in the US, you know, whether that's over prescription or over necessitation or, you know, not really sure. But for young women who are anxious or depressed, obviously we're not doctors, we're not making medical advice, but would you tell them to replicate what you're doing? Would you say, try the gym, try running? What do you tell young women who reach out to you about that?
Try physical activity first, because just as little as 150 minutes a week of physical activity can have almost twice as much of the effect as an antidepressant or as an anxiety medication can have. So try that first. That's your natural antidepressant. That's your natural like anti-anxiety. And maybe, again, like you said, we're not medical doctors, so we're not making any of those statements, but why not start there with something natural? And if you need to, I mean, there's cases where people just can't get out of bed, just can't do it. So why maybe then do it in conjunction? Consider that. Or utilize, if it's not medically necessary, the prescription to get out of bed, but then do something with it. Go to the gym, and then hopefully by setting up that healthy habit of moving your body and working out, you can then in time, like I did, ditch the antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication.
You were able to get off of it entirely?
Yeah.
Wow.
I am off of it. It's been 10 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So what does a day in the life look like for you today? Obviously, besides podcasting.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a big part of it.
Lately it has been.
Yeah, you're running a bunch of businesses. But what does it look like, a day in the life, if you got to choose?
Yeah.
What would it be?
I get up, like I said, I make my smoothies so that I...
like what time? Are you like a 4:15 riser? You look like an early riser.
No, I'm not.
Really? Okay.
I'm not. I need that little like extra REM sleep in the morning that I can get. Sleeping is important to me. Sleep is another like component of health. So if I can get that right amount of sleep, I'm not gonna get up in the morning at 4:15. So I usually it's like 6:30.
Okay.
That's more realistic for me. I don't want to lie. So I get up, I make my smoothie, I make my cacao. The cacao is my caffeine substitute, and I either have meetings. It's like there's no day that is exactly the same. There's like meetings. I have to train Kim. I have to go to the gym. Like those pieces of the puzzle kind of move around. I work on content. I still manage my own page. I have a few other social media platforms that I have not given up the controls yet. I manage it. I put the content together. I added the content. So all of what you see is done by me, unless it's something from the We Rise or Zentoa, which is the clothing brand page. I've just finally, the past few months, decided to give up.
It still looks good. I think you're crushing it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Plus, the clothes are really cute. That's your brand that you started.
Yes. Zentoa, my little mindful warrior.
Yeah. Why did you start that brand? Like, there are a lot of workout brands out there. What made you think I want my own and I don't like with options?
I just wanted something that I could wear all the time and feel good in it, like all the time, because that's what I live in the workout clothes in Zentoa pretty much. So I wanted something that was fashionable. I wanted something that made women feel good, and it was great quality. So that's where I started. But to go back to it's not an easy business, like clothing industry and like competing. It's yes, you're like, I mean, good for you. I should have known. Why didn't I? Like, I wish I knew before. But you make certain decisions early on when you don't really know how like your following is and what that translates into and what you're able to order and sell. So it's a tough business, especially for a small brand when you're trying to compete with larger brands that can produce tons of units at super low cost. And here you are, producing a fraction at a higher cost. So then you have to pass that on to the consumer. And but it's still my little baby, the little engine that could.
Well, it's really cool stuff that looks unique, and you can tell is designed by a woman who actually cares about the shapewear because she's got to wear it every day, which makes a huge difference, I've found. And a lot of the times, I think these big brands before were hard to compete with, but now, you go and use some of the big brands, and I won't name any names to be a jerk, but quality definitely comes down, I think, at scale.
Yeah, because even those brands are suffering. Like, just to hear some of the like margins that they're having to deal with, it's like they're suffering. So they're having to cut on quality. They're having to cut corners. Yeah. And that is one thing that I've never wanted to do. Like, I didn't want to cut corners. I didn't want to produce something and white label it, or I wanted to really like stand behind the products that I put out there, like something that I was proud of, like wearing and sporting around the gym.
It's true too, because then you're not going to attract a Kim Kardashian, you're not going to attract a Carly, you're not going to attract the type of people you want in your life if you have a cheap brand.
Right.
They don't want to be associated with that. Right. So I think that's really beautiful.
She likes Zentoa. I give her pieces. She puts them on because they do shape you nicely, especially the behind.
Yes. So that's how I get your butt. I just wear the clothes.
That's what I should have said from the beginning.
What kind of marketer are you? We have to work on this.
I am bad.
Okay, I do want to talk about so your day. You wake up in the morning. You wake up at 6. You're making the smoothie. You're going to meetings. You're doing some working out. Probably some more meetings. Only one workout a day?
Yes.
Okay.
It's funny. Like, I used to work out more when I had a corporate job and had, like a super busy corporate schedule than I work out now. You used to find me in the gym for a few hours, and now I'm lucky if I can get, usually it's like 45 minutes to max on a good day, an hour and a half. When I'm doing lower body, that takes a little bit longer. So on a day-to-day basis.
That feels doable, like for a woman. Because when I see some of the women in the gym and they're there for like 2 hours, I'm like, dang it, or they have like 2 different workouts during the day. That can be tough.
It's unnecessary. You don't need to be doing 2 workouts a day unless you're a bodybuilder and that's what you're going for. If you're some bodybuilders do 2 workouts a day. I've never done that. Even when I was competing, I did bikini bodybuilder competition, so like the very first level.
I've seen you.
So even then, I didn't do 2 workouts a day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you ever was it ever hard to put your body on the internet? I mean, I get comments on the internet and I talk about business stuff, but I don't really get comments about what I look like because it doesn't really matter. They could be like, you're poor, you're lying, Codie, you really don't know what you're talking about. But it's never really my body. I think it would freak me out to put that on the internet. Does that ever get to you, or did that in the beginning?
I don't know how I bypassed that. At some point I did. I think the hardest thing was hitting like 100,000 followers. I'm like, I think I didn't sleep that night where I'm like 100,000 people are watching me do this, and that was like and then I don't know, I just kind of like adjusted myself to the reality of having so many people look at me and look at my body. And honestly, when it comes to like I know there's like a lot of negativity sometimes. I don't have. I'm super grateful for my audience that they're incredible. They don't have any negativity, much if any at all. But even if there is, it almost kind of makes you stronger. Because you can take it 2 ways. You can allow it to bring you down, and that's the only thing that you think about, or you can take it as like, this is not a reflection of me. This is a reflection of the person leaving that comment. So it just kind of builds more confidence in that sense for me, because I go the other way where I'm like, no, I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, and that's your opinion. I'm sorry you feel that way.
Oh, it's beautiful. Do you ever feed the trolls? Do you ever clap back at them? Talk a little shit? Ever once?
Very rarely. Sometimes. when there's comments about steroid use.
Oh, that one gets you. There's always one that gets me.
Because I am such a puritarian, if you will, when it comes to like what I put in my body. Like, I don't even take an ibuprofen, for not mentioning any brands. Like, I don't even take anything, or I try not to, if I've got super bad cramps, like maybe on those days, very rarely even. So I just move my body and the PMS goes away. But if my diet is so clean, why would I do something like that to myself? Why would I ingest that? No, like I refuse to.
Yeah.
So that's what gets me, because I put in so much work with nutrition and working out and mindset that it kind of diminishes, takes away from what I do. And also, I think more importantly than that is sending a message to my audience, to other women, that is not achievable. She's taking something to achieve that. And I don't want that message to be out there. And it's like, no. And I don't necessarily want you to achieve my body. You achieve the best version of you, but know that it's attainable. Whatever you're wanting to attain, it's attainable, or a version of it. So that, I think that's what bothers me the most. Is like, don't speak on my platform to my audience, because they're listening and they're watching.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's very easy there's always easy to tell people why they can't. It's very hard to inspire people why they can. And so I think that's really, really beautiful. What stuff do you do that's not working out for your body? Like, are we doing red light? Are we doing acupuncture? Like, what else should we do alternative wise to stay healthy in your mind?
When I can, I'll hit a cold plunge, I'll hit a sauna, I'll do those, but I don't always have time for those things, and they're not always readily available. So I just did actually chase the real dopamine kind of post, and it went viral, if you will. And it includes things like cold plunge and sauna and meditate and all of these things. And people are like, I don't have time for all of that. I'm not doing all of those things every single day. I don't have access to all of those things every single day, but whenever I can, and pick and choose, if it's sauna, if it's cold plunge, if it's meditation, if it's yoga, if it's working out, like whatever those elements that you can bring in that will release that natural dopamine, do that. For me, working out is a non-negotiable, meditating is a non-negotiable, and I do a little bit of yoga after my workout, just like 5-10 minutes to bring, it's my cool down. So those are kind of my non-negotiables. It's the mindful stuff, it's the meditation and the yoga and the workouts.
Yeah.
And obviously the nutrition.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I also think it's cool that you share all that other stuff too. Because, I mean, man, I think Gwyneth Paltrow did such a cool thing by normalizing the extra crazy stuff that you can do. We don't all have access to it. We can't all afford it.
Right.
But like, I still like to know what's up.
Exactly.
Nobody's yelling at Andrew Huberman for having access to all this stuff. Why are we yelling at the ladies for having it?
Right.
It's very weird.
Right.
And even with Kim, like I want to know what weird shit she's doing that makes her look so great. And maybe we can't afford all of it, but at some point we will be able to afford more of it because it all becomes more accessible.
Absolutely. I think it's like that view, at least for me. I think people think that this is what she does all day, every day.
You're just
I take care of my body. I work out. I work out all day, every day. That's what I do. Meanwhile, it's like the time in my life when I've worked out the least, if you will. I mean, like you were talking about before, meetings take time. As you know, 1 hour meeting turns into a 2 hour meeting. Training, somebody takes time. So it's all of these components that come together that, I don't work out all day, every day. I run 2 businesses. I run social media platforms. Don't have time for all of that.
No, you don't, I'm sure. So is there anything that makes you nervous still? Like you've kind of achieved this peak in so many different things. You have a couple incredibly strong businesses. You have this huge social platform. You're hanging with all these celebs. Like what makes you nervous these days? Is there anything you're doing right now that you're like, oof, I'm pushing the edge?
What makes me nervous these days? I'm a perfectionist, so I'm always nervous. I mean, I'm always contemplating whether I'm doing enough, like with the We Rise app, am I providing the most value that I can? Am I providing the best content that I can? So those things, as much as I've minimized them. They don't keep me up as much at night. They don't keep me up as much, but they still do to a certain degree. But it's also, when it comes to, like, I have people depending on me now that are part of the We Rise app and Zentoa. So I want to make sure that I bring my best self for them and for everybody that I serve.
Yeah, hiring employees is scary because then you are responsible for them in some way.
Absolutely.
At least I think. Do you have things that you tell yourself when you absolutely do not want to go to the gym or you absolutely do not want to do more? What's your inner dialogue sound like? Can we steal it?
I don't try not to have an inner dialogue. I do. So it's not, maybe brushing your teeth is not the best. I don't know. Do you negotiate with yourself whether you got to brush your teeth in the morning?
That would be gross if I did. I would admit that.
So it's kind of, for me, is like that as well. It's just, we're going to get to the gym. We're maybe not going to crush it on that particular day. We're just going to start with whatever feels comfortable. I usually go for like a seated something, like maybe seated abductions. Just sit and kind of move your legs in and out. That seems kind of like easy. And then that kind of builds that motivation. So I don't wait for the motivation. I don't talk myself into feeling motivated. I act my way into being motivated, because that motivation comes with movement.
That's a great point. So move first and then your mind sort of follows.
Absolutely. And also, like, if you keep in mind that things that are usually hard in the moment, like working out or making the right choice when it comes to nutrition, like, we'll have that reward later. We'll give you that reward later. Just keeping in mind, like, how good you feel afterwards. Like, I know this is cliche, but I've never regretted a workout that I did do.
No, man. I never regret it once I get to the gym.
Exactly.
It's just getting to the fucking gym sometimes. But
I mean, I've had people in the app that slept with their clothes on so they could just make sure that I've already put these clothes on. I might as well get up and like get some, like work out in the morning. Just eliminate, when it comes to that, when you know that you're a person that's contemplates that a lot, that is struggling with yourself. Am I going to work out today? I don't feel like working out. Set yourself up for success. Have your clothes ready, have your shoes ready, know what you're going to be doing. Leaving it out. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So that's like another thing. Like, know what you're going to be doing. Know when you'll be doing it. Like, what time of day. Like, schedule it almost like a meeting. Schedule it the day before, or schedule your week. Where are you going to do it? Are you going to do it at the gym? Or are you going to do it at home? So scheduling and kind of removing all the unknowns and the stressors around it makes it more accessible.
It's so true. And I still don't do so many of those things, which is like the funny part. It's layering a few actions on top of that. Now, you are going to have in the app mindset, but also nutrition. Is the saying true that you can't work your way out of a bad diet?
Yeah, it is true. Unfortunately, it is true. I mean, we do have currently habits and nutrition that's currently in the app. So that's great because it does help people with setting up these new habits and just in general new habits, and ditching old ones, and then moving into better nurturing themselves. But your original question was, you can't out train a bad diet, because, and that, what does a bad diet look like at the end of the day? If you're not nurturing with enough protein, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're not building the strength and the muscle that you need. If you are putting in foods that are not good for your body, like sugars and whatnot, that's also, you're not going to be able to out train that, because your body can only process so much.
Yeah. Do you drink alcohol?
Well, I think I heard this on another podcast. I knew it was coming with Mike, actually.
Yeah.
I used to love a glass of wine in the evening. I used to love it because for me it was like an experience. I just love the experience. It doesn't serve my body anymore. It doesn't serve, like, from even a glass of wine, I could have a hangover the next day. I could experience like heart palpitations at night. So it's like, that trade-off just is not there. I will still do it once in a while, make sure like I drink a ton of water and clean, try to do like clean alcohol. But it's just not something that benefits me anymore.
So what do you do at the end of the day when you're like, how that's how I used to think about it. We were kind of taught, especially in finance, we drink a little bit too much, but at the end you're like, it's a long day. I got to wind down. I grab a glass of wine. I sit down. Like, it was my habit.
Yeah.
So what do you replace it with?
Walks. That's like walking my dog in the park and watching the sunset and just chatting with people. That's kind of been a huge, honestly, it created anxiety in the beginning, because for me, like, that was my thing. I created a habit. We create these habits that we rely upon. And it's just a matter of like putting in the reps with a new habit and walking and meditating and truly listening to my body and what that did for my body.
Now, do you crave like meditating and walking? Like, I like meditating in the morning. Yeah. But if you're like, Codie, long day, go ahead and meditate. I'd be like, the thing is, no. Like, it doesn't sound like tasty enough.
Yeah,
But does it feel tasty for you now? Does it feel like lovely?
Yeah, it does. It does. Especially, it depends. You try out different kinds of meditation. I went to Bali and got certified in meditation and breath work, and did learn some meditation and breathwork techniques that just give you that real good feeling, so that it does have that reward effect.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you do it with your man?
I do.
Really?
We went together, actually.
Who leads the meditation?
Oh, none of us.
None of us.
It's a pre-recorded, meditation.
I like those too.
Yeah.
Do you listen to a person in particular?
Or you could do a silent, like those were the, couple of things that I mean, more than that, but like those are kind of our go-tos. If we want a little bit more of an activating, like feel good, maybe more of a breath work. So you're really oxygenating your body and moving your energy. And then if you want more of a relaxing, going back to center, then it's more of a silent meditation.
Yeah. Do you ever get him to do like eye gazing or anything?
we did eye gazing, and we had set the timer wrong. So it was like staring for like 10 or 15 minutes. Like, I think this has been, it's been longer than 5 minutes.
I tried to talk Chris into that. He was like, what is wrong with you? He loves meditating. He does it a lot now. Yeah. It helped him a lot when he was in conflict zones too, actually. I forget what the name of the woman, Ziva Meditation maybe is her name. Anyway, but he started doing what I would consider kind of similar to transcendental meditation, which is what I do or like. And then I started listening to, do you know the guy David G? Kind of looks like Santa Claus. No.
It's not it's not. Sometimes it's like I'm bad with names. I know faces. We see them maybe like floating around.
You can tell me what you think if you like him or not.
Okay.
Are you going to have a meditation person on the app eventually?
I'm sure we're going to have somebody that's dedicated to that, even though I am certified in it twice over, because I went to India and got certified in yoga and meditation and breath work, and then went to Bali to further my meditation and breath work knowledge and the certification there as well. But I feel like we might need somebody that has, and that was more for my personal and usage, if you will. I'd love to bring somebody that's their sole focus. Right now, there is some meditation and yoga on the app as well, just shorter. I guide people through it, through the yoga and through the meditation. There's little like 15-minute, 5-minute yoga, 15-minute meditations, just like graspable little pieces for people that are short on time. But yeah, eventually that's definitely the goal.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so I was thinking that these days I get a little overwhelmed. There's so many things about health overall. And especially like right now, what's going on with like, Make America Healthy Again. And there's a lot of commentary about seed oils, GMOs, additives versus like portion size, calorie count. Is it both? Mike's take, Israel, he was basically like, hey, stop eating so much and then you won't be fat. And then you have RFK who's like, we're getting poisoned by seed oils. Is it both? What do you think?
I would side with Mike's a little bit on that in the sense that let's tackle like the big rock issues, like the easier issues. And are you eating, what's the calorie amount that you're eating? What's the macro breakdown? Like those are, I feel, in a sense, a little bit easier. And then when you have grasped that, when you're consuming enough protein, when you're prioritizing protein, then you can dial it in. Am I eating the right type of foods? Am I eliminating, all of these other things that we know by now are not good for our bodies? But it's a step-by-step process. And that's what I tell like my family too, like stop consuming all of this crazy information, like don't eat spinach and oxalates and this and that. Like don't do that. Let's start with the basics, like eat enough protein, move your body properly, because that is proven that will most likely override some of these other things that you're not even doing in like big amounts, and if you want to, then once you've got this like foundation and big rock issues, then dial it in, like we were talking about before, even with supplements, like big rock issues, and then see if you need to like supplement around that. That's a really good
point. I guess it's sort of like money, because it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, you could learn about equity investing in shorts and, options, or you could earn more money and spend less.
Exactly.
And you could start with those two things.
Exactly.
Interesting. That makes me feel better, because these days I'm like, I can't keep track of all of the things.
It is so overwhelming, and then people don't do anything. It's just they go back to like their old, habits, because again, you're trying to like eat an elephant versus like little bites. Not eat an elephant. Eat an elephant in one bite.
Either way, not great. Frowned upon, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about like you talk a lot about
don't eat elephants, by the way.
That's going to be the
Somebody's
title
gonna be like,
of this podcast.
Senada said eating elephants will make you grow a big booty.
Exactly. Albanian advice.
Yes.
Okay, so If you had to rank it from worst to best, I want to throw a couple things at you, and you can tell which one you think. So, alcohol, bad sleep, processed food, seed oils, not working out consistently.
Are we rating from?
I don't know, whichever way you feel
From
great
bad to
about it.
good?
Let's rate from bad to good. So like if you had, what's the worst? Is the worst thing you can do bad sleep? Is it alcohol? Is it, processed foods? Is it too much foods?
Oh my gosh, I feel
Or
like
just
these
all
are
of
all
those are
like-
bad?
I would say prioritize working out, prioritize sleep, prioritize nutrition, like eating enough protein. What was the other two? Like processed foods, try to eliminate them, try to eliminate. So it's like taking that step by step, get enough sleep, work out hard, dial in your nutrition. And then the other steps of like eliminating processed food and eating as much as you can whole foods. And then sure, like eliminate seed oils, replace olive oil. Now my dad always used to say like olive oil is medicine. I used to be like, haha, like olive oil is medicine. And now, there's so much also out there in the media, including Brian Johnson, like drinking shots of olive oil.
Do we believe that?
I like olive oil. I actually am pretty, I haven't done studies. I don't know. I'm not sure what the studies are out there, but I personally love using a decent amount of olive oil in my diet.
Interesting.
Yes, like my salads are basically, the dressings are pretty simple most of the time, unless I want to get fancy, but most of the time, like 90% of the time is olive oil, lemon, salt. That's it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I like this. I'm basically trying to work my way back into my glass of red wine is not the worst option. So I think we almost got there.
Yes. I mean, and again, like how often with a glass of red wine, like how often are you consuming it?
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So if it's like once in a while, and I like what Dr. Mike said, that if that is the only way that is going to kind of help you unwind, and like the risk benefit, you always talk about the risk benefit in that situation.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What do you think about stress? Like how bad is stress for your body overall? And how much does working out offset stress?
A lot. Like working out is, like we were talking about before, like stress goes into like anxiety, goes into depression, like all of those things are mood disorders. It is at the top of the list. Working out is a big release because it uses up that cortisol. Like it is huge at the top of the list, I would say.
Is that how that works? It actually uses up your cortisol on working out, and so it removes it?
It actually helps, yeah. Like and it depending on certain types of workouts can increase the level of cortisol, and there's later on a longer period of time where it can be brought back down, unless you're doing things like maybe meditating and doing those mindfulness practices to lower it back down. But yes, working out is at the top of the list as a stress reliever.
What do you think is the worst exercise advice you've ever heard?
Worst exercise in terms of like don't lift because it'll make you bulky.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad. That's one of them up there. And the best was you actually start doing it, lift weights. And for me, like maybe it's a little tangent, is to like stay authentic. It doesn't quite fit into the workout, but like the authenticity part of it, as far as like when it comes to like my presence on social media and my platform and the businesses, it's just to be authentic.
Yeah, well, you come off that way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
totally.
that.
I think it's hard to grow on the internet to the size you are if you're full of it. I mean, well, actually, you live in Hollywood. You probably have been like Codie. I've met plenty of them, actually. Not true. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about in a little bit is like the size of social media that you've grown is really big. As you're building these other businesses and understanding the importance of distribution, how did you think about growing these businesses? Like what does CEO Senada think about growing an online presence, how to do it, and what did you learn?
There's been definitely growing pains, as with every business. And to be honest with you, it's been the focus mostly has been on We Rise versus like Zentoa and the distribution on that. That has been a lot of logistical, not nightmares, but like with COVID and everything, it did bring upon like nightmares. But when it comes to We Rise, which has been kind of the main focus, we have been lucky to work with a team of people and have brought on good people to kind of manage, to help really, I can almost not involve myself to the detail that I'd like to involve myself with, and allowed them their freedom to operate, because they are and have grown into experts that they are nowadays. But
how long have you worked with these people? How'd you know they were your people? You probably get approached with a lot of stuff, and I don't really see you promote very much at all.
It's been, I would say maybe a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Yeah, about a year and a half. And then we finally were like, I'd worked with a different set of people when we first launched Zentoa, and we were working with people in Australia. We had production out of China, and that was a little bit of a nightmare. So then we engaged people that we had known for a long time, and we had gone back and forth and spoken, and then we saw the work that they were doing. Then we involved them into kind of clearing out and settling that process and the production in China, and moving it to Portugal, where Zentoa is now exclusively being produced. And then they proved themselves with their abilities to move product, with their marketing, advertising, with logistics, and everything else that comes with running an apparel company. And then we trusted them with actually working with We Rise as well.
Oh, interesting. So all the same team.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They're all the same team.
Do you have another CEO that's not you?
We do, yes. Kind of share that role. But then we have hired actual people that are in LA that are part of like the immediate team.
Do you ever ask Kim for business advice while you give her workout advice?
Maybe in passing, like it hasn't been like super direct. I'm like very like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to focus on.
Yeah, you're a pro.
Sometimes it's like, and I, she knows this, but she'll try to like tell me something, or like maybe we'll like, she's even put it up on her stories, like watching Love is Blind while working out. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll let that happen today. But she'll like try, and I'm like, I missed that. I'm sorry. I was like focusing on your form, focusing on what you were doing. So yeah, I'm kind of like 100% there. But yeah, in passing, I mean, just she is kind of a living embodiment of like a hard worker. Like she works hard. Not a lot of people see that, but she works hard.
Yeah, you don't get struck by lightning twice. You don't have multiple billion-dollar businesses by accident. Hitting $1 billion once is so damn. I mean, that's 0.0001% of newly created businesses would be anywhere near that. So that's rare. But she does have that Emma lady who seems like a stud that runs a bunch of her businesses too. So maybe you need your Emma.
I know. I mean, we have some Emmas.
You do if they're listening.
Yeah, but I mean, we're building. It's you're always gonna have people that you believe in, that you help them grow, and fortunately, we've had some good people. We've really had some good people.
Yeah, well, like attracts like. Okay, I want to go for a couple just quick questions here. Oh man, no, some of these don't work for you. So if I was going to ask, I was going to build my playlist based off of yours. Your playlist is nothing. Is your Zen brain?
No, I have.
If you had 3 songs, like what are the top? Do you put a song on to like get you amped up?
I don't know. Weird song choices lately.
Yes.
Just because like the combination of like meditation and all of this stuff. But it's Perungi.
Oh,
Have
I like
you heard
that
of
guy.
Perungi?
Yeah, only because I live in Austin. That's like Aubrey Marcus.
There you go.
And
I forgot. Yes. So he's got a few songs that really like amp me up.
Yeah, those are
You
like
got those like
vibing.
tribal.
Yeah.
You got like that tribal stuff,
Are you dancing around while you're listening to those?
Maybe. Maybe. I'm like, I do need somebody that is capturing some of those moments.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
What's happening?
But those, and then, I love Fred Again. I don't know if you listen to Fred Again.
Okay.
They've got like a few good songs.
Okay.
I'm not sure like what your vibe is as far as like music
I'm all
goes.
over the place.
But
Are you, any sing-alongs?
Sing-alongs?
Yeah, like you singing to anything?
I have to like Fred Again. I like Fred Again.
Okay, that's
they
what we're
have
singing
like
to.
good. Yeah, it's like not a lot of syllables, not a lot of like words, but like very impactful words.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this, but like, if you could only do 1 or 2 workout moves for the rest of your life, what are you choosing?
Oh man, 1 or 2. I would choose a Bulgarian split squat.
And why?
Because it tackles just like so much of your lower body, like your glutes, your quads, to a lesser level, like your hamstrings. And it's a compound because, depending how you're performing it, and the weights that are utilizing, where you're placing them, that would probably be like a good go-to. And if you're gonna do like an upper body one, so if you're gonna make me choose like one-on-one, then pull-ups, because it's working on your grip, it's working on your back. Like it's a almost a total body exercise. Not so much legs, but like I already chose the lower body exercise.
Do you also squeeze your butt
I hate
when you say the word?
By the way,
you hate pull-ups?
Man,
but
but
you
that's
do a
what
lot of them.
That's why I do them. Actually, I had somebody in the gym approach today and was like, I saw you last time doing pull-ups. Like, you must love them. I'm like, I actually hate them, but it's because I do. That's why I do them, because I hate them. Sometimes, those are the best things to do, is the things that you don't enjoy doing.
It's so true.
It just builds that resilience, that mental resilience.
Yeah. Do you also squeeze your butt when you say the word Bulgarian split spots? I feel like every time you're mentioning a movement, it makes me.
Did I? I feel like I don't. Yeah.
I think I do every time. What about if you sort of had to think about building out a home gym, or like the top pieces of equipment? Some of the stuff I love about your workouts is a lot of them you don't need much. Like I can be on the road and I can be like, all right, scroll. There's like 1 or 2 I could do there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is absolute must have in a gym? If you've got like 3 to 5 things and that's it, what is it?
Dumbbells, like have a few sets of dumbbells, maybe like a few lighter ones, medium and heavy. If you don't have like the option to just get a full stack.
Yeah.
If you can, like a cable machine would be great, like a corner cable machine, because there's so much that you can do with that. Yeah, I think those are kind of like the main, like absolutely, like I can get an amazing workout with just having those two things. And then, I mean, then you can add other things as well, like maybe a squat rack or leg extension combined with a leg curl. But those are like, if you're wanting to add different pieces of equipment.
Yeah, I love that. You don't use a lot of kettlebells.
I do.
You do?
I do. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I do. It's a combination. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
fair.
like them, but you could just as easily do the other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I feel, are you talking about like if I was to choose between dumbbells and kettlebells? Oh my gosh. Like one group of people is going to come after me.
Is that true?
I don't know.
This is like a gang?
Yeah. Maybe the kettlebell gang will
I
come
feel like
after me.
they're not going to like it.
They're tough. No, I
tough.
love kettlebells. They're so versatile, and I utilize them both. But there's unique ways that you can utilize kettlebells that maybe dumbbells you can utilize in a way more, I feel like. Not I feel like, I know, you can utilize dumbbells in a way that you can utilize a kettlebell. I think I might have said that the other way.
Yeah.
So if you're doing like a kettlebell swing, I utilize a dumbbell, like a heavy dumbbell, to do a dumbbell swing. For people that don't have kettlebells, because a lot more people have dumbbells versus kettlebells at their disposal.
And maybe they're not so intimidating. Like my mom wouldn't know what to do with a fucking kettlebell.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no chance.
Yeah.
But dumbbells, she might be able to figure
I
that
think
one
they're
out.
a little bit, just slightly more versatile.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, let's do 2 rapid fires, and I'll let you get out of here and back to the non-gym but meetings you have to go to. Rapid fire: animal protein versus plant protein.
Animal protein.
Do you do any plant protein or no?
I do. I sometimes, will add, but their studies are just out there and are undeniable as to how much more beneficial like animal protein is.
Yep. How about, I already know the answer to this, I think, but lifting heavy 3x a week versus cardio 7x a week.
Oh, lifting heavy 3x a week all day.
It's like, do you follow me? Walking versus running.
Pick your
Either.
poison. I should say, I keep saying pick your poison. Pick your elixir. Pick your elixir. I mean, it depends. You could do a steep walk, or you could do a run. And again, what is the purpose that you're using it for? Like, again, I always go back to like, what is the purpose that you're wanting to choose between walk and run? Running can be great, can release those endorphins. So can walking to a certain degree. Running can get you into that cardiovascular zone, probably faster, not probably faster than walking can. But again, it's like if you absolutely hate running, like walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about, do you have like a book or short story that you go back to again and again where you read and get inspiration from?
Oof, you may have having me go back and think. There was a time that I was listening to a Buddhist book, to a Buddhist monk's book that had short stories and had very deep meaning.
What do you like about this one? Why read it or go back to it?
Just a lot of short stories that have like a deep meaning for everyday life, for things that most people are struggling with. Like I love a story, and I hope it's from this book. There's 2 by monks that I love, and it's about like this young monk was building a brick wall, and he misplaced a couple of bricks, and he couldn't. It's going back to like the perfectionism, and he could not give up the fact that he had put these 2 bricks that didn't look like the others, that they were imperfect. Instead of looking that he built this amazing big wall, he kept on just thinking about the two bricks that he placed wrong. And that's, for me, that's a big lesson that I still learn every day. It's like, don't look at the 2 bricks that didn't quite fit. Look at the big wall that you just built.
Yeah. True. Yeah. It's probably why you're such a good builder and prolific, because you're always noting the downsides.
True. There is some benefits that come with that, with being a perfectionist, for sure. I think I attribute a lot of my success to being somewhat of a perfectionist. Now there are some other things that you need to work through and be accepting of, that not everything is going to be perfect, that there's going to be a learning curve, that there's going to be, it's like lifting, it's like making progress when you're first working, when you're first starting a workout program. It's like building a business, like you're going to have those setbacks. You're going to work hard and maybe not see results like right away, but keep your head down, put in the work, and the results will come. And don't try to be perfect.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. And then if you had to leave people with like one action to take, one thing that maybe they could do after listening to you today, what would it be?
Lift weights and eat your protein.
I'll
Those
put
are
that on my mirror.
Yeah. No, the one thing that I always like to say besides that is do everything from a place of love. And I've said this before, but I just always want to keep saying it. Even, when you're at the point where you're like, I'm just not happy where I'm at. I'm just not happy with my body or whatever it is. Like, start from a place of loving where you are, because that is the only way to get you where you want to be. Yeah.
Is that what you remind yourself of about you?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, it's sometimes hard to love yourself?
Well, yeah. I think I was raised by a perfectionist mom. I think that's where I got, she an A minus was failing. So you needed to have all A's, and if you weren't first, you were last. So that doesn't develop a whole, and the praise came very rarely, if at all. So yeah, it's been a learning curve as far as like loving yourself. But I think even strength training for me was one of those aspects that did help build that self-confidence, and all of the other aspects, kind of like stepping back from myself and looking at all of the things that I have done, like graduating in 3 years with summa cum laude from, well-known university, and then going to business school while I was working full-time. And, it's like, okay, if I were to like see all of this as like somebody else's resume, not my resume, right? Then I'd be like, wow, that's an accomplished person. That person has done some things.
Yeah. One of my dearest friends, Shayna, that's what she always reminds me. She goes, you're enough, right? Like how you are right now, you're just fine. And I'm always like, shut up. Then I start tearing up, because for perpetual perfectionist drivers, for whatever reason, it's never enough. And it's not like, at least I don't know if it's for you, but for me, it's not that I need more things. It's like I have to be more somehow.
Exactly.
And it can be a sickness in a different way.
It can. Yeah. You put it so well, like, yeah, there's nothing that I need. I don't necessarily go like, I hate shopping.
Me too.
You know what I mean? So, but it is that almost kind of trying to find that point of being enough, like where that is. And I think it's always a moving point. So realizing that we are already that, and knowing that for whatever this other idea of being enough is we already have that. That is just a moving target of some absurd, whoever created that situation.
Yes. Well, this was so beautiful. I am so honored to hear your story that I didn't even know half of. And I can't wait to watch you and We Rise grow and all the things that you do next. It's so impactful for women everywhere. But I think everybody's listening is going to have to go check out We Rise. They're probably already following you on the internet, so I'm not even going to tell them that. But your biggest platform is Instagram. Senada Greca.
Senada.Greca.
Greca. Senada Greca. And anywhere else you want people to follow you?
I'm on the main ones, YouTube and TikTok, but Senada.Greca on Instagram is the biggest one, and then WeRise.xyz is my little baby.
And she's gonna have even more of a glow up in January.
Oh yeah. As I said, we already have the nutritionist expert, the habits expert, but then we're gonna have a bunch of other experts join us in the field of mindset and sleep and hormonal expertise, if you will. Career advice. And
you do want to get him pregnant. That's a real bitch for me right now. And I think a lot of women like getting pregnant. I feel like that advice out there today is damn hard to find.
That
the
is
right
true.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know who plays in that game, but the answer can't just be that more of us have to do IVF. Like that's so wild. Senada, WeRise.xyz, all the socials. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed chatting with you.